What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 189 of the Stand Up Guys podcast. I'm your host, the incomparable Zach Jones, once again flying solo this week. And today I will be doing a review of episode 3 of The Acolyte, Star Wars The Acolyte. I did want to get this out a little sooner, but what I lack in punctuality, I like to think I make up for in depth. We're going to go in depth on this episode. Now, before I get into spoilers, and this will be mostly spoilers, but I will say off the top, the last two episodes I gave, and it's always hard to rate episodes of television, I feel, but I gave them like a 6.5 out of 10, which I thought there was some good stuff, but at the end of the day, a little middle of the road, but, optimistic. Now, this third episode, I will say off the bat, somewhat of a step down, in my opinion. Not like a huge waiver, but I would say this one's more like a 5.5 to a 6 out of 10 for me. And oddly enough, I think the first two episodes kind of diminished this episode for me because this episode is a flashback, basically showing the things that they set up in the first two episodes. And first of all, it plays out almost exactly like they set up. So there's not really much surprise, if any, in this episode. But also it plays out much lamer than it was in my imagination. And also, now that I've seen this episode, there's certain, like, one thing that doesn't really gel with me is, I believe it was episode 2, we saw the Jedi Master Torben, I think, basically commits drink poison because he felt so guilty for his actions that, took place during this flashback. And once I saw this, I'm like, did the guy really do anything that bad that he should feel? I mean, we'll get to it. You can argue that the Jedi, threw their weight around and maybe, overstepped their bounds somewhat. But at the end of the day, it really was May and her actions that were the inciting incident for everything bad that happened. And I would argue that, the Jedi's, if they did anything wrong, it was pretty minor. They don't really set up, I think, I wish they overstepped even more. So it was more compelling in that, we really, as an audience, should be questioning the Jedi's actions even more so. But it was just, I don't know, that part of it didn't land with me. I felt it was kind of lame and I don't know, didn't quite work for me. I once I saw this, I was like, I don't really buy that guy like poisoning himself in the last episode. But we'll get to it. Let's start. So episode 3 here. Spoilers from here on out. This episode is called Destiny, which, the first two episodes were like, I think one was like lost/found, and one was like justice/revenge. I forget exactly. But, I thought they would kind of keep with that naming convention, but no, they break it right here. I don't know. I'm like, if you set up something like that, just stick with it, I think. Like, have a unique naming convention. I think it would be cool to have every episode be, because that's really what they're exploring in this whole Acolyte series is light side, dark side, May, Osha, And so, I don't know. I thought it would be cool to just keep that naming convention with something/something every title. But, yeah, they went this way. But anyway, so we open up on the planet Brendok, 16 years before the previous two episodes. And so we get young Osha. She's sitting under a tree, and she's playing around with her force powers. She kind of uses them to stop a butterfly. And then young May shows up and warns Osha about the dangers of sitting under the Boonta tree. Of course, this was set up last episode. Apparently, poison can be made from, I don't know if that's the leaves or, part of this tree. But then Osha tells her, yeah, it's only poisonous if we ingest it or whatever. So there's no danger here. So May then uses her force on the butterfly, but she actually like looks like she's about to like I don't know like hurt the butterfly. So Osha yells at May for basically endangering the life of the butterfly. May asks Osha what's wrong, and said because we can tell Osha's like bummed out about something, and she says she does not want to do the ascension ceremony alone. And May says that she's going to do it with her, so she won't be alone. On the way home, uh, they repeat this little saying they have between each other. This was also, I believe, in like episode 1, where she's like, "I'm with you." What is it? I'm with you, you are with me, always one, but born as two. As above sits the stars, as below lies the sea. I give you you, and you give me me. It's their little poem that they recite to each other. So we're introduced to Mother Coral. She yells at them for being outside the city gates. And she says there will be consequences for breaking the rules. Uh, May says that Osha is old enough to go outside the fortress walls. And Coral says that the rules are for her safety. And then we see that they are being followed by Master Soul. Um, so I thought this was funny. So Coral brings it back within like the city gates or whatever, and they see like this street vendor or whatever. And you know how Star Wars they always have like you know things that we have, but they just change the name slightly to make them Star Wars. So instead of ice cream, they're like, "Hey, can we have some spice cream?" I'm like, that sounds disgusting. Like, what is like? I'm just like, are they like licking it and be like, "Oh, it's like pepper and paprika." I don't know. I mean, I guess there are more. Like, I guess it could be like cinnamon ice cream or something. I don't know, but just the term spice cream sounds disgusting to me. Um, so they want spice cream, and Coral says not until after the ceremony. But then their other mom shows up and lets them have some. And they briefly mentioned in one of the prior episodes that they do have two moms because like when they were, I think Soul was talking about the fire, and he's like the fire that killed your mom's, your sister, your village, or whatever. So I mean, I'm sure the woke police are upset about that, but who cares? Um, and their other parent is named Anasea. I want to say. I think that's how it's said. Um, so she asked them to meet in the common room for their training session, and then her and Coral have a conversation. So Coral tells Anasea that the kids went outside the fortress walls. Um, she asked Coral if they saw a Jedi, and she replies no. She says that their scouts think that the Jedi ship has moved inland. So they have some sort of knowledge that the Jedi have been on their planet um, and are up to something. She tells Coral that this planet would be a safe haven for their coven. Coral says that it's not going to stay safe if Osha keeps running away. And Coral also tells Anasea that she is too lenient with the kids. Anasea says that it is normal behavior for children, and then Coral says that the twins are not normal children. So now we go into their training session. Uh, Anasea says that all living things are connected by the same thread, a thread woven through all of existence. She says some people call it the Force and claim to use it, but we know the thread is not a power you wield. Pull the thread, change everything. It ties you to your destiny. It binds you to others. So, I mean, I guess I kind of like the idea of like the term force not necessarily being universal, and like maybe there's different like sects of people that like know the force exists, but they describe it in a different way, think of it in a different way. Because I think if something like that existed, you would see that. It's kind of like some of those zombie properties where I don't. Maybe The Walking Dead did this, where like some people call them like they call them walkers, but then they'll come up to another group where they're like, oh, they're scramblers or something. Of course, they never say zombie, but they all have like their different like terms for them. Um, so as a demonstration, she pushes a woman away by using the force. This is Anastasia. And after she does that, she says, the power of one. As she's doing the demonstration, like Osha's kind of not paying attention. So May's kind of, yelling at her to pay attention. They're kind of like fighting with each other. Then Anastasia uses the force to push away two women. And she says, the power of two. And then she tells them, she says, tonight at the ceremony, they will experience the power of many. So May and Osha continue to fight with each other. And Anastasia tells them that their enemies will not warn them before they attack. She then uses the force to push both of them down to the ground. She tells them to get up and block her attack. So basically, May blocks the attack while Osha just kind of does nothing. She's kind of unsure of herself, it seems. And she doesn't really want like any part of this, it seems like. So Anastasia praises May, while Coral says that she expects more from Osha. Anastasia tells the girls to go to the room. And then we get a scene. Anastasia comes into the room and she asks Osha what is troubling her. May tries to answer for her. She's nervous about tonight. And so Anastasia asks if this is true. May once again answers for her, trying to say that, she's scared. So Anastasia's like, you know what, let Osha answer for herself. She says that she does not want to do the ascension. May says, but that's how they become witches. Okay, so then we get to the kind of the crux of this whole episode. And I think they mentioned the word coven perhaps earlier, so kind of already knew, but here's confirmation. So I'll tell you, this is totally a personal thing. I know that witches exist in the Star Wars universe. I believe, like in the Clone War cartoon, that Asajj Ventress character, like her roots were in like witchcraft and her people. I've never liked that. I know that Star Wars is sci-fi fantasy, but I've always enjoyed the sci-fi more than the fantasy aspect. I don't know what it is. I'm the same way with superheroes. I've never been a big fan of like the magical superheroes, like the Doctor Fate, and even like but you know what? To be fair, I like Doctor Strange in the movies. I've never cared about him in the comics, so I don't know what it is about magic. It's just, I think it's because it's kind of always plot wise like a Deus Ex Machina thing, where magical characters just have the power to do whatever the story needs them to do. They're usually ill-defined, what they can do. So I don't know. I've always been wishy-washy about stories with magical characters. So yeah, May says that's how they become witches. Osha says she does not know if she wants to be a witch, and May says, "Of course, that's what you want." And Osha replies, "No, that's what you want." So this whole episode is setting up that there's tension between May and Osha. I think Osha kind of feels smothered by May, and she wants to feel independent of May. I think she doesn't feel like her own person. She just feels like, oh, the twins, they're the same, And I think she's feeling rebellious, and we see that play out in this episode. Anastasia says that they are sisters and that the thread tied them together before they were even born. She makes them tell each other that they love each other. May tells Osha not to be afraid. She says that the ascension is about working through fear. It is about sacrificing a part of yourself, the power of many instead of the power of one. She says, you think you want something different than life in this coven, but that is because you are young, and the galaxy is not a place that welcomes women like us. I mean, I guess that is kind of interesting. The idea that like witches have been persecuted throughout the universe. So that is an element I do actually like. Hopefully, that's something they maybe explore and show the roots of. That would be kind of cool. She says, "Yeah, the galaxy is not like welcome to women like us, witches who have the abilities that we do." Um, she says that Osha and her sister are special, and she wants them to stay special. So, while getting prepared for the ceremony, um, Osha she has like a sketchbook that she's drawing in, and May complains that Osha won't let her see what she's drawing. And she's like, "I share everything with you." Again, like setting up Osha's being wanting to be more independent. Osha says she doesn't want to do everything together all the time. So she's basically says it. She says they are not the same, and it only feels that way because they are the only children there. Um, so yeah, that's another, I guess, interesting aspect of their childhood is like there's no other kids here, and in a few scenes they're going to hint that these two have somewhat of like a mysterious origin, and apparently there's a reason that there's no other children. Hopefully they'll explain that in further detail going forward. Osha asks May if she ever wonders what could be out there besides Brendock. And May says no, and that everything she needs is here. So again, May is totally at comfort being there. Like she doesn't want change. She wants to stay on Brendock forever. She wants Osha to stay with her. They follow the plan, become witches. She's all in on it, and she's disappointed that Osha is going in a different direction. So now the ascension ceremony begins. Anastasia says that they have not performed the ceremony since their exile. So again, a hint at some sort of something happened, witches are persecuted, and have been exiled from other, civilizations. Again, will they go into that? Hopefully, but who knows? Some of these. I think when we were viewing Ahsoka, like we brought up a few things that we were like, I'm sure they'll go into more detail on this, and then they just never did. So we'll see. We'll see. She says they were hunted, persecuted, and forced into hiding. So all because some would consider their power to be dark and unnatural. She says they were on the brink of extinction, and then they were blessed with a miracle, the gift of life. And that's when the girls walk up. So again, what exactly is the origin of the girls? It seems like it's rare. It seems like this rare thing for there to be new witch offspring. So they're setting up some sort of mystery there. So the girls walk up. We can see on their faces that May is very excited, and Osha looks like she's terrified. They kneel and they hold Anastasia's hand. Anastasia says, what the thread has tied together, no one can separate. And then all the witches there start chanting, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. And I saw someone on Twitter said that this almost looked like they were going for like a old school like Disney cartoon like villain like song or something, and it did kind of seem like that. It was a little bit strange, and I don't know that it totally worked. But anyway, yeah, I'm curious what others think about this scene. I don't know. The chanting was a little bit weird, but they're witches. That's what witches do. Um, um, Anastasia asks May if upon her death she vows to protect the secrets of their coven and continue their legacy. And May says, I do. So this was a bit weird, but like Anastasia basically forces like this purple light into May's face. and it causes basically this like tattoo symbol to appear on her forehead. And I believe like Anastasia and these other witches, they have like markings on their faces too. Again, like witch markings, I guess. She tells her to ascend, and she stands up with a smile on her face. She asks Osha the same, to do the same vow, and Osha hesitates to say that I do. But before she can complete the ceremony on Osha, it's interrupted by one of the other witches says that the Jedi are here. So Anastasia tells a fellow witch to hide the children. She tells everyone else not to move and not to make a sound. Some archers get their bows ready, but she tells the archers to put their weapons down. She says no violence. So the four Jedi referenced last episode show up, which would be Indara, Sol, Torben, and the Wookiee Jedi. Coral says that they are trespassing. So that's another thing is Coral is kind of very militant. Anastasia is more for the peaceful route. Indara says that they thought the planet was uninhabited. And Anastasia is skeptical and says, oh, the all-knowing Jedi were ignorant of their surroundings, which to her point, like, Indara did, like, seemingly straight up lie. I mean, they've been on that planet. They've been following them. Like, they did know that they were there. So, I guess that marks the Jedi is at least capable of dishonesty. Indara says that they mean her coven no harm. She said, and Anastasia says, and yet you are here unannounced and armed. Osha, they're still in hiding, but with May, but she's fascinated by how the Jedi wear their sabers. Anastasia asks them what they want. Indara says that they are concerned that they are training children, which is against the laws of the Republic. Anastasia says that they are not part of the Republic. Which, if that's true, and this is what I referenced earlier, if that's true, then I guess that would be the biggest slam against the Jedi is like they're like straight up out of their jurisdiction. They are kind of over. They're exerting their will and authority in a place that they should have no right to do so. So I think that's a total valid knock against the Jedi. But also, I find it ironic that they're like, oh, there's laws, they're hypocrites too, because they're like, oh, there's law against training children. And it's like, is it any safer and better to, train children to be Jedi and fight Jedi conflicts than to, learn to be witches and, do whatever witches do, So I guess there's somewhat of an interesting dichotomy there. Coral says that there are no children here. Again, just lying, trying to get them to go away. But then the Wookiee Jedi can smell the children. Indara asks them to come out and says they won't hurt them. So Osha comes out because she is fascinated by the Jedi. And Sol kneels down and introduces himself to her. Indara asks her if they can meet her sister. Anastasia shakes her head yes, and May kind of hesitantly comes out. Indara asks where their father is, and she says they have no father. Which may actually be true. There's going to be a scene here in a few minutes where, again, they're setting up the mystery of the twins' origins. Like maybe they don't have a father. Maybe they were totally made from, magic. That's something that's a bit of a mystery. Sol notices the marking on May's head is new and wasn't there this morning. So he basically lets the cat out of the bag that he has been watching them. So this angers Coral that the Jedi have been spying on them. And Sol assures them that the Jedi do not take children. Coral tells him to hold his tongue or that she'll cut it out. Um, as a sign that he's no threat, Sol gives his saber to Osha and tells her that she would make a very good Jedi. He asks her if she would like to be tested and see if she could become one. And she says, yes, please. At this point, Torben collapses in pain, and Anastasia says that if they want him returned back to normal, she suggests that they all leave. Osha begs her mom to let her take the Jedi test. Indara says that they cannot deny the Jedi have the right to test potential Padawans with their permission, of course. Now that to me is a bit of like a contradiction in that sentence, because she's like basically saying like you can't deny us the right to test your children. Oh, with your permission, of course. Like, which is it? Like, do we need your permission, or we just tell you and you have to comply? So Anastasia releases Torben from his trance. She says the scouts will bring Osha to their camp at midday for the test. Sol insists that both girls come, and Anastasia reluctantly agrees. So they send the girls to bed, and they send the Jedi away. And so now the other witches are having a meeting. So Anastasia says that they must let them test the girls. Coral says she did not bring the girls into the world just to lose them to a bunch of deranged monks, which is a line I like. I like that they're witches and they think of the Jedi as like deranged monks. Anastasia says that it is her decision. Coral says that she carried the kids, and Anastasia says that she created them. So that's interesting. So that, that makes me think that, maybe they did not have a father, and they're, I don't know, somehow like, literally children of the Force or something like that, or derive somehow from magic rather than like normal biology. But that's part of the mystery, and hopefully they explore that. Or what do you guys think? Would you rather that just be left a total mystery rather than them explicitly say? I think I'd like to know, but maybe I'm just that way. Coral asks what happens if the Jedi discover how she created them. So again, making it seem like it was somewhat dubious. At that point, an elder witch says that this test has two outcomes, a pass or a fail. If they pass, the girls leave. If they want them to stay, they must fail the test. So now she goes and talks to the girls. So Osha asks, how are they supposed to fail? Anastasia says that she does not know what the Jedi will ask, but whatever is in their heart, you must say the opposite. So, basically like a lie detector thing. If, well, not exactly a lie detector test, but telling them, you got to say the opposite of what you believe to, fail the test so you can stay. May says that if they pass, they will take them away and they will never see their mom again, which apparently is true the way they talk. But I'm like, that more than anything makes the Jedi seem shady. The fact that they can't, like, if your kid passes the Jedi test, they can just take them and you never see them again. I mean, I think that more than anything paints the Jedi in a pretty negative light. May says that if they take Osha, she will stop them, and Osha says that no one is taking her. May says that the Jedi are bad. Osha says no, the Jedi are good. Anastasia says that this isn't about good or bad. She said, this is about power and who is allowed to use it. She says, Osha is a powerful girl, and right now she wants to be a Jedi. But as she grows, what she wants will change. Osha tells May that she does not want to lie and wants to say what's in her heart. Okay, this is the next day, like right before the test. Osha tells May that she doesn't want to lie. She wants to tell what's in her heart. But May says that she has to lie, and May makes Osha promise her that she will lie and purposely fail the test. While May is inside the Jedi ship taking the test, Osha is fascinated by the Wookiee Jedi who is fixing a speeder. She comes up and says hi to him. So May exits the Jedi ship, and we can see she's pleased with herself. She obviously, failed the test on purpose. So Osha goes inside the ship. She asks Torben if all Jedi get a lightsaber, and he says yes after much training. Torben takes a blood sample from her. Is he checking for midichlorians? To do midichlorian science? Does it go back an extra 100 years? They probably will not tell us. They give her a test where she must divine what images appear on this testing screen that she can't see. Which kind of reminds me of that Peter Venkman scene from Ghostbusters. She guesses wrong, but Soul tells her that she is correct. He gives her another one. She guesses wrong again, and once again, Soul tells her that she is correct. She then tells her, she's like, that wasn't correct. And so basically, lets the cat out of the bag. She does have power, and she knows that he was lying. So he then asked her if someone asked her to purposely fail the test. Indara says that her family does not want to be separated from her. And so Soul asks Osha what she wants. He says that he was younger than she was when the Jedi tested him. He says that he was only 4 years old. He said that he knew he was different from his family, and he said the Jedi saw how special he was. He says that he can see how special Osha is. He says that he was very scared to leave his family, and when he joined the Jedi, he found out there were many other children like him. So this perks Osha up, and Osha's like surprised that there are other children there. And he says that there are thousands of children like him. So I think this is also, I think Osha is finding her existence very lonely, only having, May to bounce off of. I think she's, very much so wants to be able to interact with other children. So he tells her that she must have the courage to say what she wants. She says that she wants to be a Jedi. He says she must have the courage to tell the truth. I think implying to her family. So they continue the test, and she passes. And as soon as she walks out of the ship, like May can just tell from the look on her face that she passed the test and that she broke her promise to May. So May is upset. She runs off angry. May tells her mom that Osha broke her promise. She tells her mom that she told the truth and that it was the right thing to do. She says she didn't want to lie. And May says that, you lied to me. You broke your promise. Osha says that she wants her own life and does not want to share with May. Which, I mean, for May has to be like, a pretty brutal thing for her to say. Like, it does seem like she has animosity towards May, So they don't really get into, like, I don't know if it's just her wanting to be more independent or if she really does, like, have some sort of issue with May. Like, I think she does love May. But I think she just feels cooped up at this point. She says she wants to see the galaxy. She says she does not want to be a witch. And that causes May to start like physically like fighting with her. So Anastasia tells May to take a walk. Osha tells her mom that she is sorry. Her mom says destiny is not decided for you by an anonymous force, and that she gets to make a choice. She says that if she wants to pull the thread, then pull it. Osha asks if she'll ever see her mom again, and her mom replies that she won't. Again, like I'm not super familiar with the doctrine of the Jedi, but it seems a bit crazy that they have to like cut all like ties to their family. That makes them seem very cultish, actually. Um, she tells her that fear should not make this decision. That she should. Osha says that she does want to be a Jedi. Her mom says that she must discuss this situation with everyone here, but they will consider her wish when they do so. So Osha gets ready to leave, but May says that she will not let her go. Osha asks how she will stop her, and May says that she will kill her. So May takes Osha's sketchbook and runs out of the room. She locks her in the room, and then she basically catches the sketchbook on fire and uses it to start a fire right at like Osha's door. So I thought this was a little convenient and a little weird. But Osha is able to like slice open a vent, a convenient vent from her room, that basically leads to, I guess, the power core of their village. I think this is something they maybe briefly set up earlier on in the episode, like when people were using force powers, like they went and they looked at this power core. Someone in the comments maybe elucidate me on that point, because I was a little confused by that. But when she gets there, the power cord, she sees May like running away. I think she yells her name, but then that power cord like explodes, and I'm not sure if we're meant to believe that the fire caused that, or if May somehow used her force powers and caused that. It seems weird because she starts this fire, and it immediately like kills everybody somehow. Or if the fire didn't kill them, like the power core exploding killed them. But then, like, I don't think that's the case, because that basically exploded in Osha's face and she's fine. Although I guess she does have powers. I don't know. I don't think they explain this very well. And this is what I was like saying earlier on, is that this played out a lot lamer in my head than I thought it was when they set it up in the previous episodes. Like, I did not buy this fire taking out their mom and this whole village. I don't know. It just seemed a bit weird to me. But anyway, Osha and May end up on opposite sides of this broken walkway that's over like this huge like crevasse or canyon or something. Osha asks where their mom is, and May says that she is dead. So apparently May already saw their mom's dead body. Again, not much time has passed since the time she lit the fire and Osha getting out of her room through the vent to this place. So it all seems a bit quick and weird. I don't know. They both ask each other what they have done. Like Osha's like, "What have you done?" And May's like, "What have you done?" That kind of thing. So then the walkway collapses, and Sol puts out his hand and saves Osha, while it appears that May fell to her death. As they escape, she notices that her mom and all the other witches are dead, apparently wiped out the whole coven. Osha wakes up on the Jedi ship. Sol tells her that May started a fire that killed everybody. Osha says that they must go back, but Sol says there's nothing to go back to there. He says if she wishes, she can train and be his Padawan. He tells her that she will be okay and that she will never feel like this again. Bum, bum, bum. Are they setting up something in the future? Possibly. And then the episode ends with May going out to the Boonta tree and screaming Osha's name. And that's how I guess they set up, how they both thought each other were dead. Um, so yeah, overall, I don't know. Again, I didn't hate this episode. I just thought it was mid. It was just kind of there, and I thought it was taken down a notch just from the fact is that we knew all the basics of what happened from these last episodes, and it didn't really give us any surprises or deviations from that story we already knew. It just kind of played out what we knew. I mean, I guess it added in, um, you know, a little mystery as to their origin, that type of thing. But overall, again, my problem was I don't think they made the Jedi. I would have liked them to make the Jedi out to be even more morally ambiguous, make them even a little shadier, make us take the sides of possibly the witches even a little bit more. I think that would just make it a little more compelling. I mean, you don't want it's not compelling if you as compelling if it's just black and white, one side's good, one side's bad. With a show like this, you want those shades of gray, and they have that to an extent. Um, and then also, I mean, that feeds into the whole witches thing. Like, are they persecuted because they did something horrible in the past, or is it just because they have a lot of power and the Jedi are leery that they might do something horrible with that power if they're left unchecked? So yeah, I'm glad this flashback is over. Hopefully, I don't even know if I want them to. If they were to do another flashback, I would really only want it to be um, have to do either with straight up like their origin, how they were created, or more context about the history of the witches and why they're hunted and persecuted in the Star Wars universe, at least at this time period. So yeah, I'm gonna give God, I don't know. I think I'm gonna give it a 5.5 out of 10. Hope that the next episode is goes back up. But in the comments below, guys, tell me what you thought of this episode. I'm generally genuinely curious. I think I'm going to leave it at there. A little bit shorter episode today. But guys, I thank everybody who followed along for following along. Tell me if you like these long form episodes, or if you maybe just like the Cliff Notes version. But if you will, please subscribe on the YouTube channel. You can also subscribe in audio form on your podcast catcher of choice. Leave us thumbs up, positive reviews, all that great stuff. But that is going to do it for all of my shenanigans and poppycock this week. Please, please, please tune in again next week. Bye, guys.